Once again, you're most welcome to the promotion aptitude tests. Once again, today we're going to be looking at two topics at the same time, or we're going to be discussing two topics at the same time. We're going to look at universal design for learning. That is what we're going to look at. Universal design for learning, UDL, and more to the point, we also look at scaffolding. What is scaffolding and our learning environment? We are going to look at it. How we can implement the UDL at the same time scaffolding in a classroom. What is scaffolding? That is what we are going to look at to help our promotion candidates who are going to write the promotion aptitude test. So we are going to be jumping into the lesson very soon to help our promotion candidate. So when we are talking about, we'll first look at scaffolding, then later on we'll look at our main topic of discussion tonight. And I hope this will surely help us. If this is your first time of coming across, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share with your friends who are going to write the promotion aptitude tests. So we are going to look at scaffolding. What is scaffolding? Scaffolding. So scaffolding is one of the modern methods of guiding learners of different abilities or different strengths in the classroom to help learners learn better. So it's one of the modern teaching methods that we use to help learners in the classroom. And it's very important that we try and share this with promotion aptitude test candidate to help them write and pass their promotion exam. These two areas usually come in the promotion aptitude tests, and we need to take them very, very serious if we want to pass our promotion aptitude test. So scaffolding in education simply refers to the use of variety of instructional techniques which will intend help the learners to move progressively towards stronger understanding and the ultimate greater independence in learning process. So there are variety of methods, variety of techniques that are used in the course of instructions to progressively move the student or the learner towards greater understanding of the concepts, and in the end helping the learner to independently learn on his or her own in the classroom. So it's very, very important that we share this with our learners, at the same time promotion candidates who are going to write. the promotion exams. So what are some of the techniques that we use scaffolding? So when we talk about scaffolding, we can use a ladder as one of the examples that we can use. Like if you want to climb a building, you need a ladder to support you to be able to get to the top of the building. So scaffolding is one of the methods, modern methods that we use in helping learners to get the understanding of the course content from a weaker point to a greater strength of understanding the concept. So, what are some of the techniques that we use in scaffolding? We're going to look at some of the techniques that we can use, or scaffolding techniques that we can use in helping our learners in the classroom. And it's very important that we employ these techniques or strategies to help our learners pass their or get the understanding of the concepts that they are learning. So it is very nice that we use these techniques to help learners um, adequately prepare in the classroom, understand the concept and the learning in the classroom. So that is what we are going to look at. Then, what are the strategies? Strategy number one, to explain scaffolding more, is to give learners a simplified version of lessons, assignment, and reading, and then gradually increase the complexity of um, the learning at a particular point in time. So if you want to introduce a lesson, assignment, and reading, then you need to gradually um, help the learners increase from the simple way to the difficult aspect of the learning. So it's very, very important. Then the second point is, or the second strategy in using scaffolding is you can describe or illustrate the concept, the problem, or a process in a multiple ways to ensure the understanding by the learner or the learners. So you describe or you illustrate the concept, the process, and um, the problem in so many ways for learners to get the understanding of what you want to teach them. So it's very, very important that you do this. Then the second strategy or the third strategy to use is to give learners an exemplar or a module of the assignment they will do, then you ask questions from them. So you model it with them or you go through with them. After that, you ask them questions about the learning that they are learning. It's very, very important. Now, the fourth strategy of using scaffolding is to give learners vocabulary lessons before they learn how to read. So you go through with them with the keywords before you introduce difficult reading text to them to help them learn and learn very well. So it's very simple to use scaffolding. Then you clearly describe the purpose of the learning activity, then the direction learners need to follow, and learn the goals they are expected to achieve at the end of the lesson. So you clearly describe what you're going to learn, then you give them direction of what you are going to learn about, then the purpose of why you are learning that topic, then the expected achievement that you want them to achieve at the end of the lesson is very important. Then Clearly describe how to how the new lessons built on the previous knowledge or the previous skills learners were taught in the previous lessons to help them understand the new concept that you want to teach them. So it's very, very important. So when we are talking about scaffolding, it's talking about using variety of um, instructional techniques which will help the learner move from um, a weaker point to a greater understanding and becoming independent on his own or on her own to um, learn the concept or whatever you want to teach the learners to learn. So it's very, very important. Now let's look at UDL. What is UDL? Put it in the comment section what UDL stands for. Put it in the comment section what UDL stands for and what you have really learned about UDL or what you have come across about UDL and what it means. So we're going to look at the UDL. Leave it in the comment section and let's deliberate. So it's very, very important. So UDL simply means Universal Design for Learning. It is an instructional approach that proven to help learners in the classroom, including those who are struggling in the classroom. So UDL is one of the finest method that we can use to help learners in a classroom to learn, and we need to take a very cue from this to help our learners learn better in the classroom. So all individuals learn differently, and there are four primary individual learning styles that you need to employ in this classroom to help your learners learn and learn better. This area usually come in the promotion exam. We are not learning it because of exam sake, but we're also learning it to help our learners in the classroom to learn better and becomes a better students in future. So when we are talking about UDL, is an instructional approach that facilitators use or teachers use to help learners in the classroom, including those who are struggling in the classroom. So if you want to use an approach or a method or a technique to help learners, both the high achievers, the average, and the low achievers in the classroom, UDL is one of the finest approaches that you can use in a classroom to help your learners learn better in the classroom. So we are going to look at some of the learning styles that will help learners learn better in the classroom. We have about four learning styles under universal design for learning that you use to help learners get better understanding. Those who are low achievers, the average achievers, and the high achievers will benefit the lessons that are being taught in a classroom or that you are teaching in a classroom. And one of the learning styles that you need to use is visual. Visual. Visual is one of the learning styles that you need to use. So when we are talking about universal design for learning, we are talking about using so many learning styles or four different learning styles to help learners learn better in the classroom. So using visuals, you need to use visuals in the classroom to help your learners learn better. What are some of the things that you need to consider under the visuals? Learners need to see whatever you're teaching, and they need to feel it with their eyes or see it with their eyes. Some seeing the thing give them the better understanding of a concept than you teaching them orally or you giving them graphics. They need graphics to learn and learn very well. So when we are talking about visuals, learners prefer information is presented visually, such as using maps, using charts, using sign language, or using um, something concrete that they can see and feel it. So if you are presenting a lesson and you present it without graphs, you present it without maps, you present it without pictures, you present it without objects, then those learners are being deprived in the classroom. So those who learn by visuals, you need to present visual images that will help learners to learn very well. Now, the second style that you need to use is auditory or oral. Auditory or oral. Learners prefer to receive information that is being heard. They prefer the lesson being heard. They need to hear it. And these learners, um, when lessons are presented through a spoken language, they understand it better. If you use methods such as lectures, audiobooks, music, and group discussions, these learners understand the lesson better than you using visuals. So the moment you teach them and they hear, the moment they hear your sound, hear your voice, they understand it better. They receive the information through lecture method, through audio books, through music, through discussions. They understand it better than um, using the visual. So you need to include the visuals at the same time, the auditory in the classroom to help your learners learn better in the classroom. So the third one, or the third most important learning style that helps learners in the classroom or these learners of category is using reading or writing. Reading or writing. Some learners prefer reading and prefer writing than listening to what the teacher is saying. So you need to present the information on something on the blackboard or on the marker board for learners to see and write and read. So reading, learners prefer to read and write information through the books, through essays, and through writing assignment. And that will clearly help learners learn better. So some learn by reading, some learn by writing. And if you deprive the learners not presenting the information on the board and you only do it through pictures, you are depriving some of the learners. And if you do through auditory, oral, you are depriving these kind of learners learning better in the classroom. So you also need to write something on the board. You need to let them write something from the book. You let them read and they get the understanding better than you presented it in the other two mentioned. Kinesthetic tactile. Learners prefer obtaining information through experiences and practice, such as simulations and interactive games. They prefer learning by touching items. They need to feel the item. If you are teaching about a mouse, they need to feel that this is a mouse and they need to touch it and see and feel it that this is a mouse and this is what you are talking about. They need to see it and touch it. So under this, students learn best when they present the information in a way that build up their learning strength or styles. So it's very, very important. So by using different method of instruction, you have a greater chance of reaching all students in the classroom when you're using UDL, Universal Design for Learning. So when you use this kind of approach, you're able to cover all the learners in the classroom. Those who are with the visuals, you're able to cover them. Those with the auditory, you're able to cover them. Those with the reading or writing, you're able to cater for them. And those with the kinesthetic, you're able to cover them. So it's very important you use UDL. Now let's look at the principles that are very important. So the principle of universal design for learning, the principles. There are three principles in universal design for learning. The first principle is engagement, the second one is representation, and the third one is expression. Let us look at these principles so that you understand it better. And don't forget to take a cue or a critical look at this. It helps. These principles, they are very, very key, and you need to learn them to employ them in the classroom or apply them in the classroom to help your learners learn better. So there are three principles of UDL. Three principles of UDL. Principle number one is engagement. Number two is representation. The number three is expression. So let's dive into these and learn about these principles to help our learners in a classroom. So multiple means of engagement. What do you understand about this one? The multiple means of engagement. How do you want to engage the learner? How do you want to catch the attention of the learner? The learner need to be motivated. So this one is talking about why of learning or how students learn best. Motivate the learning. So if you want your learners to get engaged in the learning process, you need to motivate them, you need to encourage them, you need to tell them the reason why they need to learn the topic, and it will help them learn and learn better. Then principle number two, means of representation. Means of representation. This represent what of learning or how students best receive the information. So representation, how do you want the learners to receive the information? So the ways and means that you want learners to receive the information is the multiple means of representation. Good. Then the last principle or the third principle of universal design for learning is the multiple means of actions and expression. Multiple means of actions and expression. What does it mean? This represents how of learning or how students best express the knowledge of what they have learned. How are they going to use the knowledge? How are they going to apply the knowledge? The best use of learning in the classroom or the knowledge that they have acquired in the classroom, how are they going to apply the knowledge? This is the multiple means of action and expression. How are they going to express the the content that they have learned? How are they going to apply it in a new situation to help them solve a particular problem or solve issues in their daily lives? These are some of the things that you need to know about um, universal design for learning to help your learners learn better. So don't forget to learn this to help you pass the promotion. Continue to subscribe and like, continue to share it with your friends, those who are going to write the promotion aptitude test. And this will really help them so much. Thank you and bye bye. We shall meet another time.